Hi, I'm Barbara Swan, and I'm taking LTLE 560 Foundations of Educational Technology at James Madison University, and I'm here today to present my literature review to you. The topic of my literature review is MOOCs, or Massive Open Online Courses in the Workplace. So let's begin. My paper researches the use of massive open online courses in the workplace. Today, I will go through the main components of my paper with you: the abstract, introduction and methods, the results and discussion, and my final conclusions. Let's start with the abstract. My paper explains what MOOCs are and how they came about. I describe how MOOCs are currently being utilized in the US and international workplaces. Then I describe recent workplace trends. Finally, future use is predicted based on an analysis of researched trends. In selecting articles and references for the paper, I only use the sources dated 2014 or later. Most of those sources were focused on corporate learning, not K-12 or institutional learning, since the focus of the research is on MOOCs in the workplace specifically here. Results of the research show that although some larger employers have had success using MOOCs to train their workforces, they are not currently utilized successfully by the majority of U.S. employers to train employees to fill skill gaps. Implications for the United States are serious and could lead to the country falling behind in critical technical areas if employers do not start to focus more on the training and development of their employees. Now, I will summarize the content of my introduction and methods section of my paper. Unemployment in the United States in 2019 is near a 50-year low. As of September 30th, 2019, there were 7 million job openings. Many of those openings existing because of a lack of applicants possessing the necessary training and skills. The objective of this paper is to answer the following 4 questions. Number 1, what are MOOCs? Number 2, how are they used by corporations for workforce learning in the United States? Number 3, how are they used for workforce learning internationally? And number 4, what is the future of MOOCs in the workplace? In order to answer these questions, a variety of scholarly articles focused on MOOCs in the workplace were researched. International articles and papers regarding workplace MOOCs in China, Sweden, and Western Europe were reviewed, as well as United States scholarly sources. Many of the sources used in this paper were located through the JMU libraries within the Business Source Complete and the Google Scholar databases. Let's move into results and discussion. The first question I address is, what are MOOCs? MOOCs are the result of technological advances in society. With the inventions of radio and television, educational content could be delivered to many geographically dispersed learners. In the 1980s, distance education began as universities sent course videotapes to learners through the mail. Once the internet came into existence and became common in most households, the internet could then be used as a medium to deliver distance learning in various forms, including MOOCs. The M in MOOCs is for massive. MOOCs offer online learning to hundreds or even thousands of learners. The first O stands for open. Open can mean free. Most MOOCs are free to audit. It can also mean globally available to anyone with access to the internet. The second O is for online. A course cannot be a MOOC unless it's offered online over the internet. The C in MOOCs stands for course. In 2011, Google and Stanford teamed to offer a MOOC entitled Introduction to Artificial Intelligence, and 160,000 people enrolled. Subsequently, and in part due to the excitement over that collaboration between business and university entities, online learning platforms like Coursera, Udacity, and edX were established. There are several key principles of MOOCs that make them what they are, including their collaborative component. They allow for the sharing of knowledge amongst learners, and they typically have testing interactions, assessing the knowledge of learners, and they supply certificates of completion that the learner can purchase, which is a strong source of funding for MOOC platform providers such as Coursera in the United States. While MOOCs have benefited society by opening up learning opportunities to many across the globe, low completion rates, averaging around 15%, are an area for improvement. One reason for the low completion rates may be that the MOOC environment is hard for learners that aren't self-directed. In other words, many learners may have the desire to learn from a MOOC, but not possess the necessary self-direction and self-management skills to complete a MOOC course, thus the low completion rates. The second question I ask is, how are MOOCs used by corporations for workforce learning in the United States? There was a study conducted by Duke University and RTI International around 2014, and it was telling regarding the relationship between corporations and MOOCs in that time frame. They found 69% of the employers had no knowledge of MOOCs. Only 1 in 398 employers surveyed was using MOOCs to recruit candidates. Only 7% of the employers surveyed were utilizing MOOCs to train their workforce. There are some differences between academic MOOCs and corporate MOOCs. Corporate MOOCs, the learners are mainly limited to the employees of the corporation. Corporate MOOCs may only be open in the sense that they are open to all employees. Additionally, there may be more face-to-face discussions and interactions in corporate MOOCs and there is potential for more customization with corporate MOOCs. Between 2014 and 2018, larger U.S. employers like AT&T and General Electric began to establish MOOC programs to train their employees. Also, Yahoo partnered with Coursera to offer employees MOOCs on technical skills like Java, machine learning, and mobile development. However, most employees, according to Homori's findings, are fending for themselves and taking MOOC courses on their own without the knowledge or involvement of their employer. A survey by Homori done in 2018 regarding employee MOOC use showed that only 5% of employees had the cost of learning paid for by their employer, and only 4% had their MOOC coursework cited in their annual performance reviews. At this point in time, most companies generally do not seem to recognize MOOCs as a viable substitute for formal training. The third question I ask is, how are MOOCs used for workforce learning internationally? In 2014, research shows that the MOOCs were primarily only to English speakers. However, looking at the Coursera website today, as of November 2019, the provider now offers courses in German, Spanish, French, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Russian, and Chinese languages, in addition to English. Research of MOOCs in China shows that corporations in China use corporate training academies for corporate learning. In Sweden, there was a summit held in 2014 on European eMOOCs. The business track of that summit was described as one of the less exploited areas of MOOCs, at least in Europe. And this was due to fundamental differences in the way MOOCs are utilized in Europe as compared to the United States. There, in Europe, they have the states of education, and the MOOCs that have been developed in Europe, such as FUN and Miranda X, are all state-supported and funded. So because the learning in most European countries is state-supported and prioritized, corporations don't need to find learning opportunities or fund them. As a result of the state involvement, there's little involvement in education by industry in Europe. The final question asked is, what is the future of MOOCs in the workplace? MOOCs are looking to more aggressively partner with corporations in the future. They're recognizing that corporations spend about $150 billion a year on training budgets. Per Opportunity Outlook, growth of MOOCs globally is expected to grow from $3.9 billion in 2018 to $20.8 billion by 2023. Coursera is focusing their business model on selling to corporate customers. They had 30 corporate customers in 2016, and by 2017, it was 500 customers. Coursera found that corporate customers are most interested in are those that involve cutting-edge technologies like AI, machine learning, and deep learning. Customized corporate MOOCs are in the future of corporate learning. Companies are increasingly preferring corporate training programs that offer a high degree of personalization. Microlearning is another trend corporations are starting to take advantage of, and corporate MOOCs can deliver. They can tailor delivery and offer training in that format. Udacity appears to be moving away from traditionally designed MOOCs because of the low completion rates and moving toward paid nano-degree programs. One recent example of a company successfully using MOOCs to fill a business need, whose model other companies may copy in the future, is Microsoft. In 2014, they partnered with a MOOC platform provider, Intrepid Learning, and a global business school, INSEAD, I-N-S-E-A-D, and created a MOOC program of 4 courses lasting 8 weeks each, and they trained thousands of salespeople. They were able to use a MOOC to quickly train their sales staff with an amazing 85% completion rate. Also predicted is increased collaboration involving MOOCs, corporations, and universities. Let's move on to my conclusions. So we know that there will continue to be a shortage of skilled workers in the United States, and corporations are going to need to take the initiative if they want to survive. Larger corporations are better positioned, they have more resources and more funding, so they can train workers using MOOCs. Smaller corporations may need to see if they can partner with local universities and establish MOOC-like programs to fill their skill gaps. The success of companies like Microsoft paving the way would serve as a model and a guide for future corporate use of MOOCs for these purposes. Thanks for listening to my presentation on my literature review on MOOCs in the workplace. My contact information is listed here, and please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Thanks.